What really happened that night in apartment 112? You won't believe the fallout. One moment, a couple millions of viewers thought they knew. The next, the story exploded into a $2 million lawsuit, broken electronics, and secrets that could rewrite everything we've seen on screen. Gino Palazzelo, after years of navigating emotional chaos and financial strain, suddenly found himself at the center of a legal storm that no one expected. Personal documents vanished, prized possessions were destroyed, and tensions that had been simmering for months finally boiled over into chaos. The cameras may have captured some of the drama, but behind closed doors, the story was far darker, far more tangled, and far more shocking than any episode ever showed. Imagine building a life with someone, trusting them with money, memories, and your most private moments, only to have it feel like every promise, every gesture, was questioned, manipulated, or exploited. This is not just reality TV drama, it's alleged betrayal, financial exploitation, and emotional warfare all rolled into one. Gino's filing paints a picture of a relationship where love, or what looked like love, became entangled with fear, suspicion, and a looming sense that someone was playing a long, calculated game. And just when you think you might have a grip on the chaos, there's the matter of the secret recordings, the audio files the court has sealed, holding truths that could shift everything. What could have been said or done that was so explosive it had to be hidden from the public eye? How far does manipulation go when trust is stripped away, and the stakes involve money, reputation, and immigration status? Wait till you see what she allegedly did next. The unraveling of this story is only just beginning, and every moment that followed would leave both cast and crew scrambling, fans divided, and the public questioning what really happens when the cameras stop rolling. Before the chaos of September 28, Gino and Jasmine's story already had layers most viewers barely scratched the surface of. On screen, it looked like the usual reality TV roller coaster. Arguments, reconciliations, awkward family dinners, and the predictable tension of a cross-cultural marriage under constant scrutiny. But behind the cameras, there were whispers, silent frustrations, and financial arrangements that carried far more weight than any televised fight. Gino had poured tens of thousands into the relationship over years, cosmetic procedures in Panama, flights back and forth, hotel stays, even legal assistance for her Cone visa and green card. That's not just generosity, it's a heavy investment in someone else's life, with expectations that went unspoken yet deeply felt. Jasmine, on the other hand, was navigating her own pressures. She was trying to establish herself in a new country, maintain relationships with her children, and adapt to the whirlwind of being part of a reality TV show. Ambition isn't a crime, but when financial dependence and personal expectations collide, the stage is set for tension. Gino reportedly wanted assurance, a sense that what he was putting in would be reciprocated in honesty and respect. Jasmine wanted independence, recognition, and sometimes, according to insiders, a sense of validation from the cameras themselves. You can almost see how friction could spark when your life is being documented for millions, and your every action is under the microscope. Their arguments weren't always explosive. At first, it was small things. Misplaced items, miscommunications, disagreements over money, or subtle digs during filming that seemed harmless to an audience but felt like deep cuts to them. Production notes reportedly show that crew members were increasingly uncomfortable, watching small tensions spiral into shouting matches, objects being thrown, and doors being slammed. One staffer commented that the couple brought their worst out of each other, which is a polite way of saying the cameras were basically documenting chaos in slow motion. And even the funniest moments, like a disagreement over who should drive to the airport or a mix-up in household chores, carried the underlying weight of financial strain and emotional investment. Reality TV editing can make it look entertaining, but behind the scenes, it's exhausting. Financial stress wasn't the only fuel. Family pressure and cultural differences added invisible weight. Gino's family had expectations, cultural traditions, and ideas about loyalty and commitment, while Jasmine's family dynamics and responsibilities pulled her in other directions. Sometimes the tension seemed almost farcical. A scene where Gino meticulously organized paperwork and Jasmine accidentally, or allegedly, moved things, setting off days of suspicion. Small moments compounded into an unspoken narrative of mistrust and unbalanced power dynamics. The audience may have laughed or shrugged at the surface drama, but insiders hinted that the stress was mounting quietly, like steam building under a tightly sealed lid. And then there were the unspoken promises. Texts and messages suggest that financial agreements and verbal assurances created expectations. Gino reportedly believed that Jasmine would repay certain expenses once her career or sponsorships took off. Jasmine allegedly made assurances, but according to the lawsuit, they were never fully honored. The combination of money, emotion, and on-camera pressure created a tinderbox. Every argument, every overlooked detail, every small betrayal began layering onto the next, escalating tensions slowly but inevitably. Even small disputes on camera began showing patterns. Minor irritations turned into explosive moments. Insiders reportedly documented weeks of rising tempers and emotional outbursts. By the time September 28 rolled around, the tension wasn't new, it was chronic. Production crews were aware, and some tried to intervene subtly, signaling that what was about to happen wasn't ordinary marital squabbling, but a dramatic climax building silently over months. But then came the night no one expected. The foundation of tension, mistrust, financial disputes, and emotional volatility set the stage for an incident that would shock the cast, crew, and eventually the entire 90-Day Fiancé fan base. Everything leading up to it, the money, the promises, the ambition, the cultural friction, the unspoken resentments, was about to collide in a way that no edit, no cut, and no TV-friendly explanation could soften. That night would change how both Gino and Jasmine were perceived forever, and it would thrust them into the kind of public scrutiny that only reality TV and real-life consequences can deliver. The night of September 28 was the kind of night that makes people question everything they thought they knew about a relationship. It started, reportedly, with something as mundane as missing documents, passports, social security cards, medical paperwork, items Gino always kept in a secure drawer. But for him, it wasn't just about papers. It was the signal of control slipping, trust fraying, and months of simmering tension finally hitting a tipping point. Jasmine allegedly tried to pack these items, along with electronics and other personal belongings, into her suitcase. Gino confronted her, fear and anger mixing into a volatile cocktail that had been building for weeks. From the outside, it might seem dramatic to overreact to misplaced documents. But under the microscope of reality TV, everything is magnified. Cameras, crew members, and production schedules create a pressure cooker environment. When emotions are layered with financial stakes, promises, and public performance, small sparks ignite like wildfire. People respond to perceived threats differently, and on that night, both parties were reportedly operating at a heightened level of stress, interpreting actions as betrayals rather than accidents. And just when things seem to calm down, boom, another secret is revealed. According to production insiders, Jasmine allegedly began throwing objects, smashing electronics, and damaging furniture. A Samsung tablet, a laptop, headphones, even a framed photo of Gino's late father were reportedly destroyed. The room reportedly turned into a chaotic whirlwind, objects flying and accusations echoing against walls that had seen months of tension build silently. Crew members tried to intervene, but the volatility escalated faster than anyone expected. Security was called in, a rare move for reality TV production, signaling that the situation had crossed from argument into something more dangerous. Witnesses later recounted the shouting, the door slamming, the screams, and the emotional threats exchanged. The psychological dynamic is fascinating. When people feel cornered, when financial, legal, and emotional pressure converges, extreme reactions can feel almost inevitable. Even then, the night wasn't static. And just when the room seemed quieter, a new allegation surfaced. Accusations of past manipulation, claims of dishonesty, and reminders of promises allegedly broken. Every word, every gesture, fed into a cycle of mistrust and resentment. The tension wasn't just about missing documents or damaged property, it was about perceived exploitation, emotional control, and fear of being taken advantage of, all intensified by the cameras capturing every moment. For viewers, it's a lesson in high-stress relationship dynamics. Signs of manipulation, repeated threats, and unbalanced financial dependence can all signal danger zones in any partnership. Boundaries, both emotional and practical, are crucial. If someone consistently ignores agreements or weaponizes stress, it's a red flag. On a night like September 28, those warnings became painfully visible. And then came another twist. Reports emerged that security teams observed interactions so tense they described it as potentially physical. They separated Gino and Jasmine, but even apart, the psychological fallout lingered. Production notes hinted at crew members being shaken, unable to process how quickly routine marital disputes had escalated into legal-level conflict. You won't believe what the security team saw. Behind closed doors, the couple's private issues spilled into a public spectacle, blending personal betrayal with tangible destruction. That night became a turning point, transforming a relationship under stress into a case study in emotional escalation, trust breakdowns, and the volatile mix of money, immigration concerns, and reality TV pressure. Every object broken, every accusation shouted, every moment of silence between them was a warning of how far situations can spiral when personal grievances collide with high-stakes environments. By the end of the night, the foundation of the relationship had been shaken in ways that no on-camera edit could fully capture. The fallout would echo for weeks, setting the stage for lawsuits, public scrutiny, and a fan base split into factions trying to make sense of a private meltdown that had become a very public drama. The chaos of September 28 was more than an argument. It was a blueprint of what happens when financial strain, emotional volatility, and reality TV stress collide in a single, unforgettable night. After the explosive night in apartment 112, the drama didn't stop, it escalated into the courtroom. Gino Palazzelo's $2 million lawsuit against Jasmine Pineda reads like a catalog of frustration, betrayal, and alleged exploitation. The allegations are layered: financial exploitation, emotional manipulation, property destruction, and claims related to immigration intentions. The filing isn't just dramatic, it's a detailed account of years of perceived wrongdoing, with documents, receipts, text messages, and even production logs used to build a case. But it's critical to separate what's alleged from what's been proven. Court filings don't equal convictions, and claims aren't facts until a judge says otherwise. Financially, Gino paints a picture of significant investment over the years, expenses covering cosmetic procedures, travel, living costs, and legal fees related to her visa and green card. Text messages allegedly show Jasmine promising repayment once she started earning money through sponsorships or social media promotions. If these promises weren't fulfilled, the lawsuit frames it as calculated financial exploitation disguised as romance. It's a stark reminder of how intertwined money and emotion can become, especially in relationships under extreme public pressure. Then there's the emotional side. The lawsuit details a pattern of psychological stress, including threats, accusations of infidelity, and manipulation that allegedly escalated over years. Gino claims repeated emotional coercion, with allegations that Jasmine used the threat of leaving or public exposure as leverage. Watching from the outside, you can see how toxic cycles of fear and control take root, especially when both parties are already under immense stress from filming and financial dependency. It's not about attacking anyone personally, it's about behavior under pressure and the ways emotional volatility can spiral beyond what either party intends. And just when it seems straightforward, the property damage section adds another layer. Electronics, clothing, furniture, even personal mementos were allegedly destroyed during disputes. These are tangible items, evidence that strengthens financial claims and also illustrates how conflict can manifest physically. For reality TV fans, it's shocking, but for anyone who's experienced a high-stakes argument, it's a reminder that uncontrolled tension often shows in the environment, not just words. Then come the allegations tied to immigration. Gino's team suggests that Jasmine may have misrepresented her intentions when entering the marriage. If true, this raises not just emotional and financial stakes, but potential legal consequences. Immigration claims are tricky. Federal authorities would have to validate fraud, but even if not pursued federally, these allegations influence custody, financial judgments, and public perception. And just when you think the legal storm is fully visible, reports emerge of sealed audio recordings and hidden files. These files, court-ordered to remain confidential, are rumored to contain intense arguments, threats, and confessions that could shift how the entire saga is understood. Whether they will ever see the light of day is unknown, but their existence adds an almost cinematic tension, leaving both cast and fans speculating. The situation grows more tangled with the possibility of a countersuit. Jasmine's team reportedly plans to challenge claims of harassment, manipulation, and financial control, adding layers of complexity to an already massive case. If the counterclaims proceed, the courtroom could become a full-blown battleground, with multiple filings, depositions, and subpoenas, possibly even involving TLC's internal footage. The legal chessboard here isn't simple. Every move changes the narrative, the public perception, and the stakes for both sides. The hidden files could change everything. Between alleged financial exploitation, emotional manipulation, property destruction, and immigration-related claims, the story is far from over. Court documents provide a skeleton, but the full truth, what really happened behind the cameras, is still partly sealed, partly rumored, and partly waiting for a judge's ruling. For fans, it's a reminder that reality TV drama can spill into real-life consequences, where contracts, emotional patterns, and personal decisions collide in ways no edit can contain. By the end of this legal storm, it's clear that September 28 was only the beginning. The courtroom battle, the sealed evidence, and potential counterclaims ensure that the fallout will continue, both on screen and behind the scenes. Every allegation, every document, and every hidden file is another piece of a puzzle that fans, crew, and the legal system are all trying to solve. And while the cameras captured chaos, the court filings show the true scale of what happens when personal relationships meet legal reality in the harshest way. The courtroom drama quickly spilled online, igniting the social media world in ways even seasoned reality TV fans hadn't anticipated. Almost overnight, the saga of Gino and Jasmine became a lightning rod for debate, splitting fandom into two intense camps: Team Gino and Team Jasmine. Screenshots, TikTok videos, Reddit threads, and fan page discussions exploded as viewers attempted to piece together what really happened. Every allegation, every text message, and every leaked detail became fuel for speculation, with theories running wild. On one side, Team Gino rallied around the claims of financial exploitation and property destruction. They shared breakdowns of alleged spending, calculated repayment promises, and moments from past episodes where tension between the couple was visible on camera. Supporters dissected production clips, paused moments frame by frame, and compared text message screenshots, all to argue that Jasmine's behavior fit the patterns Gino's lawsuit described. They framed it as a story of betrayal and calculated manipulation, a cautionary tale about how appearances on reality TV can hide real-life exploitation. On the other side, Team Jasmine emerged with equal fervor, emphasizing emotional pressure, isolation, and the intense scrutiny of being on a reality show. Fans highlighted clips where Gino appeared controlling or dismissive, pointing out moments where Jasmine seemed cornered or emotionally strained. Some argued that the lawsuit itself could be a power move, a strategic attempt to control the narrative and the finances after a tumultuous relationship. Memes quickly emerged portraying the extremes of both sides, from exaggerated depictions of arguments to sarcastic takes on the legal filings. The humor didn't diffuse the tension, it amplified it, keeping the story at the top of social feeds. And just when you think the audience has settled into two camps, mini twists appear. Some fans who initially sided with Gino admitted privately that they could understand Jasmine's perspective. Others, while critical of her alleged actions, argued the production environment created impossible pressure, making mistakes and overreactions almost inevitable. It's a reminder that reality TV isn't just black and white. Viewers themselves wrestle with complexity, morality, and the messy intersections of personality, circumstance, and public scrutiny. Questions started circulating in comments and fan groups. Would you stay if you were in her place, dealing with scrutiny from cameras, crew, and public expectation? Who do you think was truly manipulated, and by whom? These rhetorical hooks kept engagement high as fans debated, shared screenshots, and even called into podcasts to give their perspective. The commentary wasn't just about gossip, it became a forum for analyzing relationships under pressure, emotional exploitation, and the consequences of high-stakes public exposure. Some discussions took darker turns. Fans began dissecting the sealed audio recordings and private production notes, speculating about what they might reveal. Rumors of confessions, admissions, and private threats circulated, despite the official files remaining under court seal. This fueled conspiracy theories, emotional reactions, and heated arguments across social media platforms. The uncertainty, the not knowing, and the potential for explosive revelations kept eyes glued to phones and feeds. The emotional investment was palpable. TikTok videos showing reactions to the lawsuit and fan commentary went viral within hours. Reddit threads reached thousands of comments, with users linking past episodes, court documents, and news articles to make sense of the chaos. Even casual viewers who hadn't followed the couple closely were drawn in by the intensity of the online conversation. The fandom wasn't just watching, they were participating, analyzing, judging, and trying to predict the next twist. And then came another layer, the counter-narratives. A number of fans questioned the veracity of certain allegations, citing editing, selective storytelling, and the pressures of reality TV. They wondered if what was captured in private moments, even if intense, truly reflected manipulation or abuse, or if it was amplified by the cameras and the stress of being on television. These debates highlighted how quickly perception can be shaped online and how emotional investments can polarize even casual observers. The internet is already exploding over this. Every post, comment, and clip adds another ripple to the story, keeping the saga alive and constantly evolving. Between Team Gino, Team Jasmine, and the fence sitters analyzing every nuance, the social media response mirrors the drama itself. Messy, intense, and impossible to ignore. Fans continue to speculate, sympathize, and criticize, ensuring that the fallout from September 28 won't just remain in the courtroom. It's alive in feeds, chats, and digital communities, influencing how the public perceives both parties and the broader reality TV world. As discussions heat up, one thing becomes clear: the Gino Jasmine saga has transcended a simple breakup. It has become a case study in how online communities process conflict, assign blame, and invest emotionally in real-life drama. The debates, memes, and fan theories are just another layer of the story, ensuring that no matter what happens next legally, the public remains captivated, analyzing every word, every action, and every secret that might yet emerge. After the social media frenzy, the pressure landed squarely on TLC. Executives scrambled as the $2 million lawsuit made waves, prompting emergency meetings that interrupted scheduled editing and production timelines. Footage that had been planned for weeks was put on hold, while legal teams evaluated what could be aired without risking further liability. Internal audits were launched, reviewing season-long production logs, crew notes, and behind-the-scenes reports. The network was suddenly confronted with the reality that a private marital dispute had become a potential legal nightmare, with implications not just for the couple but for the entire production. The tell-all taping became an instant powder keg. According to insiders, tensions between Gino and Jasmine were so high that producers had to separate them for parts of the shoot. Even the hosts struggled to maintain composure, trying to mediate a volatile situation while keeping cameras rolling. Crew members reportedly followed strict protocols, sometimes pausing filming entirely to prevent escalation. For the cast, every interaction was charged, and minor comments or gestures risked blowing up into a full argument. The cameras were capturing moments that might never air, yet these same moments could later become critical evidence if the legal battle intensified. What footage could be released? What did producers see but choose to hide? These questions haunted both the network and the fans speculating online. Unedited segments, internal logs, and off-camera incidents created a sense that reality TV's polished veneer was only a small fraction of the truth. Behind the scenes, staff had to navigate a minefield, protecting the cast, preserving the show's narrative, and limiting exposure to legal scrutiny. The pressure on everyone involved, from executives to field producers, was enormous. For Gino and Jasmine, the constant presence of cameras and crew added another layer of strain. Arguments that might have been private in a normal relationship were amplified by the knowledge that every gesture, every word, could be recorded, replayed, and analyzed publicly. Emotional responses intensified, as the stress of being observed often triggers heightened defensiveness, impulsive reactions, and miscommunication. Production staff noted that even routine disagreements escalated quickly, fueled by exhaustion, constant observation, and the complicated dynamics of filming in confined spaces. Legal concerns loomed large over creative decisions. Producers debated whether to edit the tell-all heavily, scrap it entirely, or attempt a controlled reshoot with safety measures in place. Every option carried risk. Too much exposure could interfere with ongoing court proceedings, while too little could frustrate fans and compromise the storytelling arc. Meanwhile, cast members watched each move, weighing their own reputations against what might become public. Subtle psychological pressures, fear of misrepresentation, anxiety over online backlash, and the mental load of reliving past conflicts added to the volatile mix. The cameras captured more than anyone imagined. From whispered confrontations to private moments of despair, TLC's team had documented a series of events that went far beyond what viewers saw on screen. Each frame was a reminder that reality TV is a delicate balance between entertainment and real-life consequences. The production challenges underscored how networks must navigate the tension between storytelling and ethical responsibility, while cast members manage the personal cost of public scrutiny. Even after filming wrapped, the network's response continued. Internal discussions included contingency plans for legal subpoenas, potential counterclaims, and ways to mitigate reputational damage. Security protocols were adjusted, staff briefed on sensitive materials, and footage stored with heightened confidentiality. Behind the polished episodes was a reality of high-stakes risk management, emotional labor, and constant calculation. In the midst of this, one thing is clear. The fallout from September 28 changed everything. The production team, the cast, and the network itself had to adjust to a new reality where private conflict became a public spectacle, and where the line between entertainment and legal exposure was thinner than ever. Every decision carried weight, every interaction was scrutinized, and every second of footage could have consequences beyond the screen. The dust is settling, but the emotional storm hasn't passed. For Gino, the lawsuit represents more than financial claims. It's a culmination of years of tension, betrayal, and frustration. The late-night arguments, the feeling of being manipulated, and the constant pressure of keeping a relationship under the microscope have left their mark. Even as he pursues legal action, there's a vulnerability in the way he has documented every expense, every interaction, and every tense moment. It's a calculated response, but it also reflects the emotional toll of feeling wronged while living life on display. Jasmine, on the other hand, is navigating a whirlwind of scrutiny, shock, and strategy. Facing allegations of financial exploitation, property damage, and emotional manipulation is daunting on its own, but the public and legal spotlight amplifies every reaction. Her attempts to assert her side, prepare for potential counterclaims, and manage online backlash underscore the complexity of being both a participant in and a subject of a reality show. The emotional weight is compounded by how past decisions are replayed, analyzed, and dissected in real time by fans and legal observers alike. Both are dealing with consequences that extend far beyond the initial incident. Financial stress is tangible, with documented expenses, damages, and legal fees adding up quickly. Emotional consequences linger in the form of mistrust, lingering resentment, and the challenge of separating personal feelings from public perception. The legal ramifications add yet another layer, from court filings to sealed recordings and potential federal involvement. Each of these pressures interacts with the others, creating a multidimensional challenge neither could have anticipated when they first appeared on the show. For viewers, it's a reminder that reality TV relationships operate on a different scale than typical personal disputes. The cameras capture not just the argument but the fallout, the strategic moves, and the emotional consequences in a way that can't be fully escaped. Even simple disagreements are amplified, leaving both parties to manage personal feelings while considering legal and public consequences. The stakes are real, and the human cost is clear. Fans watching are left with questions that are still unresolved. Will Jasmine file a countersuit? How much of the private footage will ever see the light of day? What will the tell-all reveal, and who will be most affected by it? Each unanswered question keeps the audience engaged, anticipating the next twist in a story that refuses to settle neatly. The suspense is compounded by the layers of secrecy, strategy, and emotional stakes, creating a tension that continues long after cameras stop rolling. And when the cameras roll again, one truth might finally come out. Whether it's a revelation hidden in private recordings, a shift in the power dynamic, or an unexpected reaction from either party, the next episode promises to deliver more than just drama. It will show how real-life consequences unfold when personal conflict becomes a public spectacle. Next time, one secret could ruin everything. The story is far from over, and the emotional fallout, legal maneuvers, and fan reactions will continue to shape how this saga is remembered. For both Gino and Jasmine, the journey ahead is uncertain, emotionally charged, and full of surprises. The audience is left to wonder not only who is right or wrong, but how far the ripple effects of one explosive night will reach in both their lives and the world watching them.